her dream job. My wife had just landed a great job at this super fancy restaurant, you know, the kind where you can't get in unless you're all about showing off.
Oh yeah, raw food. How fancy am I?
Not to brag, but my wife is insanely good at cooking, so she quickly became her boss's favorite, who was the head chef and owner of the restaurant. So one day she comes home all excited and tells me to put on my best suit and tie because the chef had invited us to dinner to serve us her own recipes.
I know it's no shower November, but today's an exception. Now go put on something decent.
So on the way there, my wife was telling me that it was super important for her that I helped her make a good impression. I had never seen her so stressed about wanting to impress someone, but she warned me to behave like a decent person.
I need you to cooperate, okay? Please, no bad jokes, no offensive impressions, nor saying that fried chicken with Cheetos is fine dining.
What? Everyone always laughs at my jokes. I'm hilarious. You'll see, your boss is gonna love me. She didn't need to tell me twice because as soon as we got to the restaurant, I turned into the perfect husband and the most charming man you've ever met. Good evening. It's a pleasure to meet you. Your restaurant is as beautiful as you.
Oh, you're such a gentleman. Come on in. I've reserved the best table for you.
Once seated, I was the life of the party. I laughed at all the chef's jokes, even the bad ones. Also complimented even the waiter who brought our grape juice, and my wife was over the moon with how I was behaving. But as you may know, some of us are born to make fools of ourselves and be entertainment for everyone else. So I accomplished my life purpose, I guess. Everything was going great until my wife's boss got up to bring us the dish she had cooked for us.
I made this with lots of love. It's my specialty.
Honestly, it looked delicious, and I was dying to dig into that huge steak in front of me. I felt so lucky to be sharing that meal with my wife, but as soon as it got closer, I realized that piece of meat was raw. I'm not exaggerating. It was so raw that if I cut a piece, it would still go moo. I glanced at my wife's steak to see if she had the same problem, but hers was perfectly cooked. Now, you might say the easiest thing was to ask the lady to cook it a bit more, but can you imagine the embarrassment that would cause for her and my wife? That wasn't an option at all. I tried my hardest to cut a piece of that thing that was tougher than the dry lemon you have in the fridge, and when I chewed it, I had to fight the urge to vomit all over the table. I was in more trouble than you could imagine. Just then, the hostess got up.
I'll be right back. I'm just going to check on the desserts.
I thought, now or never. I had to act fast and get rid of the steak before the wannabe chef came back. And almost like God himself said, hold up, this needs my help. I spotted an open window wide enough for me to throw the steak out quickly without either the chef or my wife noticing. The move required skill and precision, but I went for it, praying to every saint out there. That was my first mistake, thinking someone up there would have mercy on me. Because, oh! What a surprise I got when I realized that the window wasn't open. It was the cleanest window I'd ever seen in my life. You wouldn't see it either. So that raw, tough piece of meat smacked right into the glass, hitting it so hard that half the restaurant turned to see what happened. You can't imagine the dead silence that followed, only interrupted by the squeaky sound of the raw steak sliding down the window. The noise alerted the chef, who rushed over to see what had happened, joining my wife, who was already looking at me like I'd just been caught kicking stray puppies for fun or something. Don't judge me for what I did next, but I had no choice. My marriage was on the line. I don't know what happened. I stuck my fork in and the steak just flew off my plate. I know, such a lame excuse. But what else could I say? Ma'am, your steak was disgusting, so I tried to throw it out the window instead of eating it. I knew no one would believe my story, but I had to get up, pick up the steak along with whatever dignity I had left, and put it back on my plate to finish eating every last bite of that steak, which was now not only raw and tough, but also cold and dusty. I didn't say another word during dinner. And of course, there was no dessert for me.
Dad, can't you drop me off on the